Hola, buenas a todos, aquí Víctor447 y hoy estamos aquí de regreso en Vampyr. Así que bueno, continuamos por donde lo dejamos. Teníamos que, ya sabéis,
I cannot enter.
seguir investigando un poco lo del hotel, hablar con la gente, ya sabéis, toda la pesca. Bueno, vamos a ver. En realidad en el capítulo anterior dije que teníamos que hablar con todos, no tenemos por qué hablar con todos, realmente, pero bueno, con la gran mayoría yo creo que sí. Esta chica no... a ver este.
Good evening, Doctor. I believe we're going to be working together.
Dr. Reed. Dr. Swansea informed us of your arrival, but I could not dare to believe we'd have such good fortune. Such an honor, sir.
Thank you. And you are?
I am Thoreau Strickland, Dr. Thoreau Strickland. I'm a great admirer of your work, Dr. Reed.
Vale, su vida en Londres.
Please, could you tell me something about yourself?
I'm a great admirer of your work concerning blood transfusion, Dr. Reed. I run my own experiments. I'm convinced it's the future.
What made you choose to be a doctor?
I'm not ashamed to admit you and your work have inspired me. I am honored to have the opportunity to work by your side.
It's always a pleasure to share scientific and medical knowledge with someone eager to learn. I'll be glad to help you if I can.
This epidemic may be the century's most terrible disaster, but I'm convinced that we, as doctors, are the only ones able to defeat it.
I based my technique on my mentor's research. He helped me perfect my method. What is yours?
I'd rather not talk about it. For now, it's just theories and first approach. My process is purely experimental and unsuccessful.
As long as you're cautious and
Los experimentos de tomas con transfusiones de sangre aún no tuvieron éxito, vale. Doctor Thoreau Strickland.
Methodical. You may remain empty-handed, but you won't fail.
You're not the first one to warn me, but I am convinced knowledge is the main weapon against the ravages of this epidemic.
What can you tell me about the Pembroke?
Well, it has always been an honor to work with Dr. Swansea. But with your arrival, I can't think of a better opportunity to learn about blood transfusion.
You seem quite optimistic. It's a rare and precious attitude in these difficult times.
I'm convinced that this epidemic is a test of endurance and dedication for us men of science.
Questions remain about our capacity to resolve the situation.
True. Last summer, during the first wave of the epidemic, I used to joke with Milton about the extra work. We're not smiling now.
Do you need help with anything in particular?
Well, yes, maybe. I'm waiting for a batch of products I ordered for my personal research, yet my supplier seems to have vanished.
Do you want me to play the errand boy for you?
Oh no, Dr. Reed. But if you went personally to his shop, what with your reputation and all, he wouldn't dare to refuse the products I need.
I see. Well, give me the address, for I may pass by if I have time.
Preguntas personales acerca de su técnica de transfusión.
Tell me more about your willingness to experiment with new medical techniques.
Harvey Fiddick is a patient suffering from a severe injury that could cripple him if not treated correctly. I'm convinced your blood transfusion technique could help him.
What is it you really want? To save him, or to prove your point?
Fair question. I want nothing but to save my patient, Dr. Reed. Especially since I know Mr. Fiddick's story.
This personal involvement could also appear to be a lack of impartiality. You must know that a good surgeon must remain neutral.
I agree. But that does not excuse Dr. Ackroyd's behavior. A man who did not even take time to converse with his patient.
Do you think keeping his distance was a mistake?
All I know is that I'm taking care of human beings with desires, hopes, and fears. Not some biological machine comprised of blood, bones, and flesh.
Cuéntame la historia del señor Fiddick.
Tell me Mr. Fiddick's story.
Our first diagnosis was compromised because Mr. Fiddick lied to us about the real origin of his injury. He first claimed it was an accident.
But why would he hide such crucial information from us?
Because he is a proud father, ashamed of putting his children at risk because of his own negligence.
Harvey Fiddick. Harvey se culpa por su lesión. Vale.
Goodbye, Dr. Strickland.
Vale. Me parece un
Good evening, sir. I'm Dr. Reed. I believe we're going to be colleagues.
Reed? Yes, I've been informed about your arrival. I'm Waverly Ackroyd. Welcome aboard, I suppose.
Does my arrival inconvenience you in some way, Dr. Ackroyd?
Let us just say that I don't particularly share Dr. Swansea's enthusiasm for hiring you. What we need here are reliable professionals, not overrated dabblers.
Señores, F en el chat.
If you have a problem with me, Dr. Ackroyd, please feel free to tell me.
Dr. Swansea has imposed your presence on this hospital without asking anyone's advice. The benefit of his position. But I don't agree with it.
I know we've never met before, but I believe this hospital could use all the help it can get. You will agree with that, I'm sure.
Oh, but I have heard about you, Dr. Reed. Of course, you can't say the same about me, since I have not wasted my time courting the press.
Aren't you too old for such jealousy? It really won't do you any good, you know.
Don't be ridiculous, Dr. Reed. A simple glance is enough for me to know you have nothing for me to envy.
Vale. ¿Qué piensa de la investigación?
Tell me, Waverly, what do you think of Dr. Strickland's enthusiasm for his experimental research?
Strickland is playing with his patients' lives for pride and glory. Now that, sir, is unethical.
Are you thinking about something in particular?
Harvey Fiddick needs delicate surgery. I believe we should stick to the usual procedure, but my young colleague obviously disagrees.
And are you not afraid that your rivalry with Strickland may be blinding you?
Rivalry? I guess you could call it that. But I will never be childish enough to let my personal feelings affect my judgment.
¿Por qué quiere dirigir esas?
Why do you wish to lead this surgery?
I strongly believe that Mr. Fiddick should not be butchered to test an unproven procedure.
I really hope you're right about this, Dr. Ackroyd. I'm trusting your judgment on this.
I'm not the kind of man who runs away from his responsibilities, Dr. Reed. There is no need for you to be looking over my shoulder.
Since your tenure in this hospital is longer than mine, perhaps you can tell me more about this place.
Let's just say I'm tired of the carelessness around me. I have always respected the skills of Dr. Swansea, but over time his enthusiasm has become displaced.
Carelessness? Exactly what are you talking about?
We're here to save lives. The people who trust us are not volunteering for experimentation. They're here to be healed.
I don't intend to run any radical experiments, Doctor. Even if I, as any good practitioner should, express an interest in pushing the boundaries of medical research.
Modern medical methods were created through audacity and ego. But there are rules in our line of work, and they're here to protect our patients.
Wardley no aprueba los métodos médicos modernos. Vale. Preguntas personales.
I don't know what you've heard about me, but I have already proved my value as a practitioner.
I don't question your skills, Dr. Reed, but your motive. Is it money, fame, or are you truly dedicated?
And what exactly is that supposed to mean?
I served in the war just like you. But unlike you, I did not use the wounded to play the modern sorcerer.
Be careful what you insinuate, Dr. Ackroyd.
I only want you to admit you used those men to improve your theories.
He salvado muchas.
This is ridiculous. My blood transfusion technique saved many lives, and you know it.
You see? That is exactly what I hate about people like you. You avoid this kind of accusation instead of facing reality.
No entiendo bien este pavo.
It seems you have bad memories of your military service.
I refuse to see this industrial slaughter as scientific progress. War only reveals the worst in men.
We can at least agree on something, Dr. Ackroyd.
Vale.
Thank you for your time. We'll talk later.
Esta es la enfermera Dorothy Crane. Este es el... Carta inconclusa. Carta inconclusa. Hospital Pembroke, 2 de noviembre. Mis queridos hijos, lamento no haberles escrito antes, pero duele muchísimo escribir estas simples palabras sobre papel manchado de sangre. No se preocupen, papá saldrá del hospital tan pronto como los doctores le curen el brazo. Mientras tanto, si necesitan algo, vayan a ver al señor Chadwick en la obra de construcción y díganle que son los hijos de Harvey Fiddick. ¿Se acuerdan de Robert Chadwick, el grandote con bigote que me ayudó a reparar las puertas de la casa la primavera pasada? Vayan a verlo y pídanle algo de dinero. No se negará a darles una pequeña ayuda. Lamento no poder trabajar por ahora, pero nos les arreglaremos apenas pueda salir. No se preocupen, todo estará bien cuando el brazo de papá vuelva a estar fuerte. Apenas los médicos curen mi brazo. No, o sea, apenas los médicos curen mi brazo y ahí sale como una escoma y no la continúo. Harvey Fiddick. Harvey no podrá alimentar a su familia mientras su brazo sigue herido. Vale.
I will not let you down.
Good evening, sir. I'm Dr. Reed. May I help you?
I don't know if a third opinion is needed. Your colleagues are already arguing about my condition.
I see. Would you mind telling me more about your situation?
I'm Harvey Fiddick. All I want is to get me bloody arm fixed properly.
Su vida en Londres. Cuéntame sobre.
Tell me about yourself, Mr. Fiddick.
I'm just a regular guy waiting to get his arm fixed, so I can return to work and to my family.
I was more curious about what you were doing before being hospitalized.
I'm a carpenter, and a good one too. But that means I need both arms to feed my family, Dr. Reed.
Are you satisfied with your treatment here?
Well, it's clear that I've chosen a bad time to be injured. Forgive my bluntness, but you seem overwhelmed by cases of the flu.
I won't lie to you about it. I'm afraid we are.
Are you sure you don't want to operate yourself, Dr. Reed? I have the feeling you're very capable. And your colleagues seem to think so too.
In other circumstances, you would be right. But for now, I don't think I can take on the responsibility. My apologies.
Los médicos discuten sobre
Tell me about the doctors who are arguing about your case.
Strickland and Ackroyd. They both want the best for me, but there's a lot of pride there. Doctors are no different from carpenters, it seems.
What do you mean?
I often had professional arguments with rivals on a building site. Difference is, I disagreed about wooden nails, not flesh and bones.
Preguntas personales. Parece preocupado por su...
You seem worried about the safety of your family. And it's obviously the reason why your wound troubles you so much.
I cannot give up on my children now. They both need me living.
What about their mother, if I may ask?
She died in 1915 during one of the first Zeppelin raids. We
Zeppelin.
never found her body.
La esposa de Harry murió durante la guerra. ¿Por qué siente culpable?
Tell me about your injury, Harvey. Why do you feel so guilty about it?
My wife died because of me. And now I may lose everything because I've been careless enough to hurt myself. What an arsehole.
Su esposa murió
How
por
could
su
your
culpa.
job be responsible for your wife's death?
I was working a double. She went out to bring me a hot meal and got caught in a German bomb raid.
Amigo. Mesmerizar, le podemos mesmerizar. Se hizo daño
You can't
momentáneamente.
hold yourself responsible for your injury, Mr. Fiddick. Unless you tried to hurt yourself.
Of course I didn't hurt myself. but I can't work until my arm is fixed. My children need to eat, Doctor.
Acerca de la muerte de su...
Tell me more about the death of your wife, Harvey.
1915. I was in the army, building workshops for the Royal Flying Corps. Helen was happy I wasn't sent to the front.
What happened?
The Germans sent Zeppelins to bomb the construction site, but they missed their target. My wife was bringing my dinner when the bombs fell.
I'm sorry for your loss. So many died during the bombings. I served in France and witnessed the carnage there.
I would like to say that she didn't suffer. Truth is, I have no idea. I just know that I'm all that me kids have. Poor little bleeders.
Se encuentran bien sus
How are your
hijos.
children after losing their mother?
They were smaller then. The only good thing about this is my Helen didn't bring them with her that night.
Vale.
Is there anything else that's bothering you?
I'm all right.
Goodbye for now, Mr. Fiddick. I'll see you later.
My sweet girl
Vale.
reads me like a book.
Vale.
I never could keep it.
Aquí no, por ahora no vamos a seguir hablando. Bien. Con quien quiero hablar es con el señor, ya sabéis, con el señor Clocks. También yo creo que un tipo más o menos por aquí.
I'm sorry you ended up on my plain and cold medical bench, sir. I understand you would be very angry about
Esto
this
creo que
unfair situation.
ya lo vi antes.
I managed to arrange to have you buried in the same mass.
You don't mind if I search your pockets, do you, sir? You won't need any of these anyway. I'm not stealing from you, mister. I'm only redistributing your belongings to people who need them more than you. You see, no one has claimed your body, sir, so it would be such a shame to bury you with your valuables. I will not forget you, sir, and I thank you for your generous donation.
Rakesh le roba los muertos que cuida. Estos son como pistas, las cuales, por ejemplo, en ciertos momentos un ciudadano estará haciendo algo y nosotros desde cierto ángulo, desde nada más cierto ángulo, carta larga, ¿qué es esto? 27 de octubre, hola hermanita. ¿Cómo van las cosas en la gran ciudad? Aquí en Broome, no también. Parece que la gripe ha regresado y tenemos muchos nuevos casos de infección en el vecindario. Recuerda a la señora Schiller, la vieja borracha del tercer piso, falleció hace 2 días y su departamento ya está ocupado. Vaya, deberían pagarme muchísimo dinero para dormir en la cama donde una mujer murió de gripe hace apenas unas horas. Lamento no haberme tomado el tiempo de responder rápidamente su última carta. Entre los ciudadanos que necesitan el pequeño Paul, mamá, papá y mi trabajo en la fábrica. Pocas veces se encuentra el tiempo para escribirle a mi hermana favorita. A propósito, mi hija quiere saludar a su tía Pipa. Debería ver al pequeñín, ya me vuelve loca. Y mamá dice que traigas esas maravillosas tartas la próxima vez que vuelva a casa. En su última carta me dijo que estaba pensando en renunciar a su trabajo en el hospital Pembroke. Debo decirle, Pip, será mejor que lo piense 2 veces. Aquí siempre hay trabajo en la fábrica, pero los salarios son malos y las tareas son tan aburridas como un día sin sol. Oh, tengo un nuevo prometido y no soy una... no soy una cualquiera maldita. No soy una cualquiera maldita moralista. Pero si realmente quiero renunciar y hacer algo más útil que contar muertos todas las mañanas, quizás le convenga quedarse en Londres y unirse a esa banda a la que hizo referencia. La Guardia de Prueben o algo así, jamás escuchará hablar de ellos, pero sí, como usted dice, una suerte de milicia que intenta llevar un poco de orden. Quizás es lo que usted necesita, solo debe asegurarse de dejar que los demás vayan adelante. Así es como mataron a mi pobre Billy en Francia. Lideró demasiadas patrullas, maldita guerra. Como sea, vuelva lo antes posible y cuénteme todas las buenas noticias antes de hacerlo. Su hermana que la ama, Lucy, Paul, mamá y papá. Pipa Hopkins, sí. Pipa piensa en renunciar al hospital Pembroke. Vale. De hecho, mira, justo llega acá Pipa. No me bloquees. Estoy viendo que me va a bloquear y me va a dejar medio bugueado o algo así. Aquí es hospital lleno. Sé que el hospital está lleno. Esto. Vale. Sí que vale la pena tú revisar.
Good evening. I'm Dr. Reed.
Always a pleasure to meet a colleague, sir. Especially when he was supposedly dead.
A colleague. Are you a doctor too?
Not anymore, sir. I used to be Dr. Rakesh Chadana. Now, I'm just Mr. Chadana, pawnbroker and humble guardian of this morgue.
What do you mean, you used to be a doctor? Was your license revoked?
No, sir. It is just that I like to be precise. I run a little pawn shop while taking care of the dead. But I used to be a real doctor.
No.
Please show me what you have to sell.
Of course. It's just trinkets and curios, really. But I'm sure they can be useful.
Vale, una fórmula enigmática, opio, codeína.
Tomorrow. Good evening.
Su vida en Londres, no le teme a los
Are you afraid or uneasy being surrounded by so many corpses?
Why should I? These bodies are empty vessels. Flesh left to decay. Poof. No soul anymore. All gone.
La mayoría de las personas le temen a la carne.
An interesting point of view. And quite an exotic one, too. Most people fear, or at least have a respect, for dead flesh.
Sir, as a medic during the war, I learned to face my death and the death of others. It's the pain we have to tame, not death itself.
Rakesh no le teme a la muerte porque prestó servicios de médico. Vale. La mayoría ¿cómo consiguió el
How
trabajo?
did you get this job?
After I left the army, I worked as an undertaker down by the docks. A dangerous place with many an unpleasant business there. Milton Hooks helped me get a job here.
Vale. ¿Nos conocemos?
Have we met before?
I don't think so, sir. Why?
When we first talked, you said you were glad to meet me since I was reported dead.
Eso es cierto.
Funny story, sir. Your sister came here a few nights ago. You were missing, and she was looking for your body. She must be very relieved now.
No dudo. Trabaja aquí completamente
Do you work
solo.
here alone?
Yes, very easy work, sir. All I have to do is watch a few bodies. The situation was very different when the main morgue was still open.
Vale. ¿Por qué cerramos?
Why close the hospital's main morgue?
It was for sanitary reasons after the beginning of the epidemic. Cadavers had to be moved to the nearest mass grave.
¿Por qué mirar estos
Why do you
cuerpos?
have to watch these bodies?
Because these poor fellows have no names. We keep them in case someone comes looking for the missing. Sadly, very rarely happens.
Vale. Preguntas personales. ¿Cree en la vida después?
Since you're not afraid of dying, do you believe in life after death, Rakesh?
Mola cuando haces esas preguntas.
I believe we
o
must
sea,
do all the good we can
se puede ver
while
claramente
alive,
que lo obliga.
for our time is short and the obstacles are endless.
Do you think you would enjoy immortality as a concept?
I don't think so. Don't mistake me. I love life and I'd like to live a long life. But everything has to decay, sir. Even goodwill.
La buena voluntad
Do you
no
really
gana.
believe goodwill cannot last?
As I said, sir, everything decays. If I was to never die, goodness, I would be bored or worse. And I like to be helpful, sir.
Quite depressing, wouldn't you say?
Yes, but the good news is we'll all die before losing our humanity, sir.
Entonces está listo para
So
morir.
you're ready to die?
No, I am not. I don't fear death, for I won't see it. What troubles me is the pain my death will inflict to those I know.
You're a wise man, Mr. Chidama.
No, Dr. Reed. I am a foolish man, but I like to think otherwise.
Vale. Nivel 4. Este prestamista le roba los
How
fondos.
dare you steal from the dead, Rakesh? Is that what your pawnbrokers is really about?
These people are dead, sir. What they possessed could be useful for the living. And I'm sure they would agree if they could speak.
Más respeto por lo... Si le atrapan irá... Si le atrapan
You
irá
may
a
be
la
right,
cárcel.
but you'll go to jail if you're caught.
If ever I have to go to jail, I'm sure I'll find a way to help people there, too.
Vale, como que este lo único que quiere es ayudar a los demás. Y no estoy tampoco del todo mal. Algunas personas querrán hacer eso. El problema va a ser como llega a lo mejor a robar una posesión sagrada. Por ejemplo, un reloj que sea... Un reloj familiar. Tomémosle una pertenencia familiar que se herede desde muchas generaciones. Ese debe ser ahí ya un problema más grande. Y dudo que les haga mucha gracia a los muertos. Pero bueno. Eso es del prestamista.
A pawnbroker? I expect you get all types of people here.
Yes, sir. All kind of people. For I sell all kind of goods.
¿Quién viene aquí a hacer negocio?
Who comes here to trade with you? It's very unhygienic, even unsafe. Diseases can spread. For the customers, for the hospital.
I'm very cautious, sir. I've been a doctor, remember? And all my clients are good people. In fact, I think I only know good people.
¿Qué tipo de mercancías?
What kind of goods?
With the quarantine, it's not always easy to buy things. So I trade, I exchange. Some people sell, some others buy. I like to help.
Sí, soy de Londres, que tenemos la última pista.
Goodbye, Mr. Chidana.
It never ceases to amaze me how you
Vale.
and lost at the same time.
Y veis, o sea, también hay pistas que nada más se obtienen mediante coso, mediante... Vale, esto está... Mira, otro evento. No creo que llegue, creo que tengo que salir a... No, creo que ya aparte ya terminó, ¿verdad? Ah, sí, terminó ya, qué mal. No, espérate. Continúa. Es ahí. ¿Recordáis este pasillo? Aquí. La puerta está cerrada. Recordadlo.
How can I be sure I'll not find your unconscious body in the house again?
I promise you'll not find my unconscious body.
For God's sake, how can you say such a thing?
How can you refuse to listen? I tried to warn you for so long.
No, I won't let my only son die. You promised me you'll stay alive.
Your son lied to you, like the whole world lies to us.
Vale, son madre e hijo. Mortimer Ghostwick. Mortimer tenía la intención de suicidarse. Y otra persona supongo que será su madre. Y este está como con una infección, pero desconocida. Vamos a descansar, venga, va. Hay que dormir ya de una buena vez. Tenemos que aumentarlos. Estamos en nivel 3. A ver cuánto nivel aumentamos. Segundo, aquí no hay algo. Ya no. Hay que estar atentos a los eventos. De hecho, a veces hasta nos convendría ir yendo con esta vista para detectarlos y pues eso. Vale. Creo que arriba no se puede subir, ¿verdad? Ah, no, de hecho ni siquiera está bloqueado. Ya literalmente el juego te prohíbe ir hacia el desván, supongo. Vamos a descansar, tenemos 1600 puntos. Así que vamos a ver. Vale. Cuerpo, mordedura, cuerpo, la salud, la energía, la capacidad de sangre, la absorción de sangre, la regeneración de vida, el daño infligido. Vale. Por un lado me voy a mejorar el cuerpo, las condiciones defensivas, barrera de sangre. Visible que absorbe el daño inmediato hasta que se desvanece o destruye. Vale. De estas dos creo que prefiero la barrera de sangre, pero bueno. También me voy a mejorar. ¿Cuántos puntos necesito para la barrera de sangre? 600. Venga, va. Es una habilidad defensiva. Después tácticas, velo sombrío. Agota tu resistencia para desvanecerse en la sombra y ser invisible ante la mayoría de tus enemigos. Al moverte en este estado consumirás más resistencia. Si te agota tu resistencia, atacarás o saldrás de las sombras. Salto. Realiza un movimiento sobrenatural hacia tu objetivo y causas daño al aterrizar. Esto es daño de sombras. Vale. Me interesa más el salto. ¿Cuánto costaría? 500. Paso. Necesito primeramente esto. Y después ciencia. 3 sueros contigo. Y balas no me interesa. Y le voy a dar a esto para absorber más. Vale. Ahora somos rango 10. Y no sé si irá avanzando el personaje en plan mientras más habilidades vampíricas le vayamos poniendo, como que su cara irá cambiando, como que se irá convirtiendo cada vez más y más en vampiro. Aún así las tenemos que subir y fijaos hasta cuántas mejoras hay. O sea... confirmar. Y cuando se duerme se avanza una noche.
If I'm to stay here until my research is complete, I'd better learn to hide my true nature from the mortals. But what about my thirst for blood?
Hospital Pembroke. Objetivo equivocado. Vale. Pues bueno, gente. Ya somos rango 6 también. Aquí, vale. Con R2 la habilidad. Con L2 la otra. Esto se... Vale, si esto se puede cambiar a tu propio gusto. Pero lo voy a dejar así. Aquí también están las pasivas mejoradas. Las que hemos mejorado hasta ahora. No está para nada mal. Por cierto, también voy a ver aquí si puedo... Vale, sí, hacer pequeños cachivaches. Sí, esto ya era lo mismo y bueno. Aquí vamos a dejar el vídeo. Hemos descansado ya al fin y hemos podido avanzar y aparte subir de nivel, que antes estábamos en el nivel 3, no teníamos casi muchas habilidades ni casi nada subido, pero ahora somos rango 6, cosa que ahora seremos mucho más poderosos. Pero bueno, espero que os haya gustado. Un saludo a todos y chao chao.